I'm going to read you something from some business cards my father had made years ago. He did it mainly because he thought it was funny, but I think he was also making a very valid point. Anyway, without wishing to offend anyone, the card simply said, "Your criticism has been received in the same spirit with which it has been given. Fuck you very much." One thing I hate about Donald Trump, and I'm using the word hate very deliberately, are his insults when someone publicly disagrees with him or won't do what he says. Don't misunderstand me or my position. He is still my president, and I still support him. But sometimes his insults can be so petty and personal that I think to myself, what are you doing? And how does this help anything? There have been plenty of examples of his imprudent language throughout his tenure as president, but what made me to decide that I wanted to comment on this now was a recent tirade he posted on Truth Social. It was in response to some very pointed criticism from Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones when they disagreed with the president about his military intervention in Iran, which they considered to be reckless. My biggest problem with the president's insults is they are just really kind of dumb and therefore too easy to dismiss. The point is, much of what the president said about those four individuals simply isn't true, and it only diminishes his criticism of them. He called all of them low IQ and losers who are on third-rate podcasts. None of that is true. They aren't stupid people, and those are not third-rate podcasts. They have millions of viewers, and as someone who is just starting out with my own online endeavor, I am insanely envious. Trump gets even more personal. For example, he called Candace Owens Crazy Candace. Well, to be honest, she may very well be crazy, as evidenced by her insistence that Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, has a penis. She is being sued by the Macrons, and personally, I can't wait for the lawsuit to go to trial. But there is no way, no time, and no place in the universe where Brigitte Macron is hotter than Candace Owens, as alleged by Trump in his post. Just saying. Anyway, I sometimes wish Trump would respond to his critics with something along the lines of, "I'm sorry you feel that way," and just move on. To those who suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, the insults are inconsequential. It may give them something new to talk about for a day or so, but to them, it's no more outrageous than anything else about him that infuriates them, which is everything. The problem I have with the president's disappointing habit has to do with people who might otherwise support him, but who are turned off by his sheer pettiness. I suspect this may especially be true for women. I have no data to back that up, but I have had numerous conversations with my wife about this. She is an intelligent woman, and she hates Donald Trump. She can't understand how anyone could support a president who is so unpresidential. The truth is, I can't disagree with her on that specific criticism. I shall return to the conversations with my wife, but for now I shall simply say that the reason I can support Donald Trump despite everything I just said is because I agree with almost everything he's done as president. Let me begin with Venezuela. For those of you who don't know, I lived in Caracas for more than 20 years until I left in 2003. I was witness to the events that led to Hugo Chavez being elected president, and I saw firsthand the decay of a once wealthy country into the impoverished, tin-pot dictatorship led by a clownish despot that the country eventually became. I've posted several videos on the subject, and I invite you to watch them if you are interested. Anyway, I recently had a conversation with some Venezuelan friends, a young couple who are colleagues where I work. I wanted to know what they thought about Donald Trump and what their families back home thought. Well, their responses were nuanced. I could tell they don't really like him, but they're still grateful that he removed Nicolas Maduro from the country. He did what had to be done, is how one of them put it. Well, that's it. That is my point. Even if they don't like many things about Trump, there was an acknowledgement that no one else in our government would have ever taken the measures necessary and assumed the personal political risk to send our military in to remove Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela. And the world is better off for it. Anyway, back to the conversations with my wife. Her main criticism stems from Trump's overbearing personality and how unpresidential he is. Look, I don't own any red baseball caps, but I try my best to defend him. To paraphrase my Venezuelan friend, I do believe he is doing what needs to be done. Domestically, I agree with most of his policies. He is stimulating the business environment and working to reduce our dependence on Chinese manufacturing. He is supporting artificial intelligence and the energy production necessary to support it. He has secured the border, and he has taken measures designed to help the working class. Internationally, I support his actions in Iran and Cuba as well as Venezuela. You can see my analysis about those countries in other videos I have recently posted. I also support our administration calling out Europe on a number of fronts, including restrictions on free speech, their support of woke ideology, and the fact that the United States has been footing the bill for their defense for decades. I have even managed to persuade my wife that not only is Donald Trump right about many of these policies, Democrats have been wrong, and sometimes disastrously wrong about their approach to pretty much everything. I also pointed out that Trump being unpresidential may have actually helped him get elected in the first place. Well, that's all fine and well, and she doesn't necessarily disagree with me. But she still hates him. I sometimes just wish he could channel some of my father's wisdom. He could have cards embossed with gold and the presidential seal that simply say, "I'm sorry you feel that way. Fuck you very much." That's nuance I can live with. By the way, my wife loves me and she watches every video I make and gives them all a thumbs up, even when she doesn't fully agree with what I have to say. She is also subscribed to the channel and gets notified anytime new content comes out. If you see a video with only one like, well, that's probably hers. Maybe you would consider doing these things and also share the video with your friends. All of your friends, even the ones you don't really like. It would really help us out, and who knows, maybe one day we can be as big as some of those people the president hates. Thanks for watching. This is Pablo El Molinero.